wrecking, and constant surprising.
The pick that sent Twitter into a frenzy.
The art of the draft is crafted over time. You learn from mistakes. You learn from studying and watching film and really diving.
Holy cow, YouTubers. It's Boss Magnus here with another Magic the Gathering Arena video for your viewing or listening pleasure.
This video is going to be a little different than my other videos. I'm going to give it a try. I think it might be worthwhile. I'd really love to hear your comments on it if you agree. One of the things I haven't seen as far as draft videos is somebody who does a draft analysis. Now, there's a lot of people who are really good at draft, but I'm not, and I'm trying to get better. So one of the tools that the business world and military uses is called either an after-action review or lessons learned. So this is my rewind, is going to be my version of it, of my Golgari Counters Hot Mess deck. It went 3-3, and I'm going to talk about what I possibly could have done different that might have changed things. This is a way for me to process through it and see if I can do better for my future drafts. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks. So the pack one, pick one here is Tarkir Revenant, which 17 lands says is A-. I think it's a fine pick. I think the Purging Stormbrood is also a really good card, especially the Omen on it. There's the Detainment, good removal card. I'm not sure it's worth a first pick. The Tarkir Revenant is a double black pip, and it kind of commits you to black. It doesn't keep you as open. I think the power of the card is worth picking as a pack one, pick one. So now on pack one, pick two, we are looking at the Lotus Light Dancers, which is also a powerful card. 6 toughness is a lot in this format, I've found. Lifelinking is a powerful ability. The knockout maneuver, it's a pretty good trick, especially if you're playing counters, which as it turns out, we are. I think the Saga Wildling is a good card, but again, it's a common. I think we want to try and pick power here. The Lotus Light Dancers are still the right pick. We've got a couple pieces of removal to choose from. Piercing Exhale, Osseous Exhale. I think the Exhales are good. We've also got Narcissus Rebuke. Spectral Denial's a good counterspell. Dispelling Exhale. I mean, look, we've got Exhales all over the place. They're all good cards. And I think the choice really here is to try and stick with the colors. Black, if we want to play the Tarkir Revenant, seems to be our primary color. With the Lotus Light Dancers, it seems like green or blue, so I think Piercing Exhale is a fine choice here. Here's the Stormplane Detainment, and I think this is a place where I could have made this different decision to not kind of hone in on the black and green as much as I ended up doing, and actually taking the Stormplane Detainment. I'm not saying that it would necessarily push me into white. I also hovered over the Riverwalk technique. I think that's probably an underrated card as well. I think is really a toss-up of cards that I could have taken here. Then if I'd taken that Stormplane Detainment, I probably would have taken another Stormplane Detainment. Now, I could have stuck with the Tarkir Revenant, done black-white. I could have ended up, splashing the Lotus Dancers as a single blue pip if I wanted to. Lion Weight is a good card, and I think it's a good choice here. Better than anything else that's in the hidden here. Rebellious Strike and the Snakeskin Veil are also okay. And in this pick, I know I'm going to make the Jungle Hollow pick. And the other choice is Roamer's Routine. I think Jungle Hollow is just better. I think it was a good pick for me to stay open with the Tranquil Cove. Not knowing if I'm going to be playing blue and white. I think that's a good choice here. So all in all, the first pack I don't think is bad at all. I think I could have gotten, 2 or 3 Stormplane Detainments, which might have pulled me more into white. I picked up some decent blue cards as well. I did have the Tranquil Cove for the blue-white land as well. That might have been a choice. So on to pack 2, pick 1. We're eyeing that Yathan Roadwatcher. 17 lands has that as a C. It's not the best card in here. It's also black, green, white. So again, if I had taken the additional Stormplane Detainments, this might have been even more appealing. Nightblade Brigade might have been a good card here. Molten Exhale. If I had the white, maybe the Osseous Exhale as well. We definitely get a little Dragon Blind, I'd say, with the Bloomvine Regent. It's a fine card. It's got a grade of B. in 17 lands. A couple of the choices there with the Sagu Pummeler and Tranquil Cove if we are looking to do the blue-white thing. So in the pack 2, we've got that Flamehold Grappler, Sonic Shrieker. We took that Dragonstorm Globe. I think that was probably not the right pick. Sarkham's Resolve is a decent trick. Either takes out a creature with flying or it's +3/+3. That is definitely the better card that we should have chosen there. Pick 4, even though we're not doing the mobilize thing, the Death Touch on the Night Brigade might have been a slightly better pick here. In this pick, we have a couple choices, and again, if we'd pushed more white, I think that we could have gotten the Skirmish Rhino, and I think that is definitely the better pick. Trample is a big deal. Gaining life, losing life is a big deal, and if you've got white and green, you've got some tricks that can help pump this up to trample over. So yeah, I would have taken the Skirmish Rhino instead here. So I end up with this Undergrowth Leopard, but again, if I'd had more white, I think this is where I would have noticed that white was more open. That Wayspeaker Bodyguard is pretty good. Can bring some stuff back from the graveyard. Not even trying to do the graveyard thing, but just being able to get creatures back. So pack 3, pick 1. We've got that Voice of Victory that would have been great if we had white. So again, like I said, I think I missed white. That really fits into the Mobilize deck, the Mardu deck. And like I said, we've got a lot of Mardu that's gone around. We could have actually had some good red with War Effort here for the Go Broad attack. But yeah, I think we kind of missed the draft because we didn't get ourselves into white. But knowing that we're not in white and the choices that we can make here, we're going to go for that Alchemist's Assistant. And I think that's probably still the right choice. Pack 3, pick 2. I got Dragon Fever, and I saw that Purging Stormbrood, and I was just all eyes on the dragon. So in pack 3, pick 3, we looked at the Marshal of the Lost. We ended up with the Feral Deathgorger. Again, a little bit more Dragon Fever. This is actually the second of the Caustic Exhales that we've missed, which might have been a good option for some removal. Also missing the Sarkhan's Resolve, which again is a good trick. I think I probably should have taken the Sagu Wildling here. I slammed that Opulent Palace, but Evolving Wilds probably would have been a better choice if I was looking for the mana fixing. I think the right pick for the deck was probably Sarkhan's Resolve. So had I eliminated the blue in the deck, I wouldn't have ended up with that Whirlwing Stormbrood. Probably would have taken the Salt Road Pack Beast. It's a good card draw. Also in my deck as it was constructed, probably should have taken the Sagu Wildling. Here's another pick with Sarkhan's Resolve. These seem to be going around a lot. I think this is a good trick. Here's a Scoured Barrens for some black-white fixing if we'd been there. I either should have been Mardu or a black-white-green. I think I totally should have been out of the blue. And I think that's probably my big mistake from the draft here. So when I look at the deck construction and how I put the deck together, some of the things that I think I probably missed. This deck ended up being heavy on the counters. I probably should have leaned into the aggressive negotiations, which I ended up cutting. And even though I've got some good blue cards, I think it might have been better to kind of tune the deck a little bit more to just the black-green. So the final deck construction, I end up with 17 creatures, 6 spells, average mana cost of 3.4. I think, obviously, like I've already said, I think I should have ended up at white, or I'm sorry, black, green, white, or maybe even Mardu with the red instead of the green. But knowing that I was green, black, I probably should have ended up trying to find a way to cut the blue out of this. I like the 17 creatures to 6 non-creatures. Some of the creatures aren't that great. But the thing that I really notice when I take a look at this is how level my card distribution is. Way too much top end, not enough bottom end. And that really plays out in the matches themselves. So in our match 1 against Lawrence Wang, we seem to have a good start from a mana perspective. We end up hitting our Bloom Vine Regent. We're going to find 2 Force for ourselves, so we're definitely good on the mana, especially because we've got the right distribution. They come out with their Warden of the Grove, looking to try to be aggressive, playing out the Outrider. That Warden of the Grove at the beginning of their end step, it's going to get a +1/+1 counter, so it's always going to be growing. But the worst part about it is whenever another non-token creature enters, it endures X, where X is the number of counters on this creature. Lawrence comes out with a Naga Fleshcrafter and decides to make a second one, and that becomes a problem, as you see. And then that Equilibrium Adept comes out, and it is the death of me. I guess I didn't really resonate how much flurry the deck was going to have to make it double strike as often as it did, and that became a big problem because of the lack of direct removal that I really had. Now, I was concerned about that Adept whenever it got pumped up, whether or not there was going to be trample, especially because they were playing green, but I don't think there's that much trample in this set as it is to be concerned about that, so I could have perhaps saved myself a little bit by chump blocking earlier. I was fortunately able to bait them in with the Sarkhan's Resolve as a trade, but, you know, it's not a great trade. It's a 2-for-1 for me. But getting rid of the Warden of the Grove was actually pretty key for any kind of survival. I think another mistake that I made was not getting the Lie in Wait to do what it's supposed to do. I probably should have committed more creatures to the board. I don't know how many sweepers there are in the format. But if I didn't have any creatures in my graveyard, I couldn't lie in wait. And as it turns out, the reason that I lose is because they are able to use removal on my solo blocker and get that Equilibrium Adept through. And that is going to be the game for us. Game 2, no idea what happened there. But a win is a win. So the next game's against Funky Boy is considerably better, as I actually am able to win this one. And I'm doing what I think I should be doing a lot better. I am committing many more creatures to the board, and we're getting the counters down, and we actually are able to turn our Sagu Pummeler with the Karsi Revenant into this indestructible monstrosity, which just becomes too much for Funky Boy. And that's how we end up winning this one. So the next game's against Flabenzo, and I do what I think I should be doing, which is with this particular deck, with my very bad mana curve, trying to get those lands out to be able to cast what I've got. And I think I make a small mistake here by casting Focus of the Mind instead of Sage of the Fang. Again, I think I need to get that board state a little bit wider to be able to keep myself alive. And I don't think that I was ready to start discarding cards anyway. So as we see, we get attacked, and I don't have anything to block with. So we're already down on health. That Equilibrium Adept that caused so many problems before shows up again, trying to maximize the use of my mana as much as possible, and I definitely screw up the mana tapping here. I should have been able to have some green mana to be able to use the Piercing Exhale with my 2 mana, but I did not. So Flabenzo responds, puts another threat on the board with the Monastery Messenger. And while I've got some good mana, I just can't get the threats out on the board in time, and they end up winning. So the next match is against Business, and yeah, I kind of run away with this one. I take a very aggressive path and swing quickly with the Alchemist Assistant, gaining life. It's a big body. The life gain, I think, is highly oppressive. in this format. So I think if you can get the life gain, I think that's an important pickup. Don't need to have many creatures. And as you can see in my hand, I've got options. Creatures go to the graveyard. I can lie in wait. I can piercing exhale. I've got the whirling storm brood to continue to put the pressure on. And it turns out to be enough. Our final match is against Aerialar, I think. And it does not go well. And I definitely think that I make some mistakes here. So my initial tactic is with the Undergrowth Leopard, having Vigilance. I want to go on the offensive and also be able to block, but I failed to see that their creature has Menace, so I can't block. So now I'm being as offensive as I can and not being defensive like I'd hoped. And not until I drop a Yathan Tomb Guard am I going to be able to double block, knowing that I'm going to lose a creature if I try. So I play the Globe, which I think is fine because I need the mana to be able to get to my Lotus Light Dancers for some additional life gain, as they're starting to put more threats down. And I walk right into a trick, which was a bad mistake. So I end up, after that misplay, I'm still up in life, but they soon play out creatures. They definitely have the better board state. When they swing back, they even up the life. Fortunately, I've got enough mana. I can play out my Lotus Light Dancers. I'm looking to use the lifelink to gain some life back. And after I play the Dancers, it's kind of a time crunch, as you can see, me trying to find the cards that I want to put into the graveyard. I think it's an okay choice to put the Alchemist over the Karsi Revenant, just because I'm looking for something with my 2 mana to use. Although perhaps I should have put the Karsi into the graveyard and then actually cast my Einok Wayfarer instead to put another body on the board. So even though I've got my lifelinkers on board, Aerialar swings back. They drop another creature. Switch the life totals. They're at 8. I'm at 4. And they also end up having the removal spell, which removes my big lifelinker, my big butt lifelinker. And I've just got the little lifelinker. Puts me really in a tight pickle. As it turns out, I don't think anything I might have done there with Aerialar, maybe, if you saw something I didn't, would have avoided the end play there with them finding their dragon. But it is what it is. All in all, I think it wasn't terrible. I mean, it's terrible that I ended up 3-3, but still trying to learn the format. I think the net was that I probably should have ended up with, and I'm not good with the names, but black, green, white, or Mardu, black, white, and red. Let me know if you like what I did here, if this is better, maybe a little bit more efficient, maybe a little bit more interesting commentary. You can tell me. Thanks a lot for listening.